Jasmine Rivera, Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Immigration Coalition. What was your reaction when Donald Trump won the election last month?
My reaction, like the reaction of many folks in our coalition, was sadness, anger, but not surprise. We in the Pennsylvania Immigration Coalition, which is a coalition of over 50 organizations working with immigrant communities across 27 counties, we were getting prepared for months leading up to the election, and we had a scenario plan for both a Harris administration and a Trump administration. So devastated, absolutely, but not surprised, and absolutely ready to fight.
Well, Jasmine, as you know, during the campaign, immigration was really the centerpiece of the Trump campaign, and he is promising mass deportations. So what do you suppose he means by that nice, concise phrase? How would he go about doing that?
Absolutely. We know that in order for the Trump administration to achieve the numbers that they are proposing in regards to raids and deportation, in order to make that happen, they're going to need to expand immigrant detention. So prisons for immigrants, 3 of which we have right here in Pennsylvania. The largest, the Moshannon Detention Center, is the largest immigrant detention center in the Northeast. The Trump administration wants to expand the number of detention centers. That is going to be critical in order to do these mass deportations that they want to do. That also means deputizing local law enforcement, deputizing the military, right? Tapping into the National Guard to be enforcers, right? To round up people in mass raids, whether that be at workplaces, outside of folks' homes, and sometimes even outside of courts, right, in order to arrest, then detain, and then eventually deport people in our community, people who have been in our community for years and years and years, many of whom are parents, right, many of whom, all of whom are children, right, have loved ones. But it goes beyond that. The Trump administration also wants to denaturalize immigrants who have become citizens. They want to end any temporary legal status that folks have. We could see hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people overnight become undocumented because their temporary legal status has been stripped. And then finally, they're also talking about ending birthright citizenship, meaning that just because you were born in the US does not mean you're entitled to citizenship. That's me. That's my child.
Jasmine, tell me more about the agenda of your group then, given the reality that Donald Trump is on his way back to the White House. How does it shape your agenda? And he's going to be in the White House in just a matter of weeks.
Yep, absolutely. We are fighting nonstop. Like I mentioned, we came up with a scenario plan for exactly this situation of the return of the Trump administration. We have a list of 15 tactics, programs, services that we're going to need to deploy. They vary in scope and length. The reality is that we need to do all of the things in order to keep our people safe. Where we're at right now, the top 2 priorities for PIC and PIC staff is 1, calling on the president. He does not need to hand over a working deportation system. We saw what happened the first time. We saw as a nation children being ripped out of their parents' arms, put in these cages, lost. There's still 2,000 kids we've never found, have never been returned to their families. So we know what this reality is. We've seen it, we've lived it. It is the president and the vice president's moral obligation to dismantle as much of the deportation machine before Trump enters office. And we are not naive. We know the entire thing cannot be dismantled in a matter of weeks. And we know that the Trump administration is going to rebuild, but rebuilding takes time. And time is what we need to keep our people protected. That's our immediate demand in the next few weeks until January 20th. And additionally, we are working with local governments, on the state to the county to the municipal level, even school districts. We need to make sure that we are putting into place policies that protect our community members, whether they be students, children, parents, workers, elders. We need to make sure that we have safeguards in place at every level of government, because it is not the responsibility for local government to be enforcing federal law. That is a misuse of jurisdiction, resources, and time.
Jasmine, if there's one specific thing that President Joe Biden can get done before Trump takes office, what would it be?
We have a list of 22 demands that are available.
Let's talk about your top first demand.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The number one of the list of 22 is end all of the ICE contracts with all of the detention centers. Every single detention center, which is there are detention centers across the country. They could be shut down right now. Those folks can be released. Those people are still going to have to show up to their immigration proceedings. They have cases, but they could be fighting those cases outside of a detention center.
We have about a minute left, Jasmine. Since Trump won the election, at this point, how often is your office being contacted?
A lot. We have been getting reached out to by many community members, by many partners, allies, local leaders, and we're an infrastructure organization, right? We are a coalition. We are supporting over 50 organizations in 27 counties who are doing the on-the-ground work. And our members have been telling us since the Wednesday, that's my cat, and the Wednesday after Election Day, that their phones have been ringing off the hook. The community members asking what to do, how to keep themselves protected. We've had people say, should I stop buying groceries? Should I just not go outdoors anymore? So there are a lot of people in our communities all over the state of Pennsylvania who are worried and afraid right now. But at the same time, there's also a lot of people who are reaching out, asking, what can I do? How can I get involved? How can I fight for my friends, my family, my neighbors? That has been a beautiful thing to see. And I'm going to continue to encourage folks to look up who are the immigrant rights organizations locally to you and reach out to them, see what they need and how you can support. And you can find a list of our member organizations and where they work on our website, paimmigrant.org.
Last question, Jasmine. What could the consequences of mass deportations take on our country's economy?
We would enter another Great Depression. Earlier this year, PIC released a report, Immigrants Grow Communities, the impact of immigrants and immigration on Pennsylvania. And the reality is that our current trends shows that we are on a population cliff. We already have a labor shortage. We're already seeing multiple sectors across the board and across the state being affected by the fact that our population is shrinking and our population is older than the national average. You then layer on mass deportations, it is going to be devastating to so many different sectors in every part of the state and every part of the country. It will be another Great Depression if the Trump administration is successful in implementing their plans, but we're going to stop it.
Jasmine Rivera, Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Immigration Coalition. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.